Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isubk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West. They're
There we go. All right. Shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Barakathum, to all the Akim out there, Yahweh Shamar Alathun, Bashim Yahushua to all the Akwathin out there. This is the Day of Atonements Sabbath service. Today is September 30th, and we are going to go over the feast. We're going to get right into it today. We're going to go over the feast that we always do in Leviticus 23. Of course, we'll read it in Hebrew, and then we'll read it in English, and then we'll do some questions like we did last time, the last feast day, of the things that we're reading. All right, and so let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23. We're reading verses 1 through 7. We're going to read that in the Hebrew, and then we'll read it in the English. All right, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1 through 7 in the Hebrew.
It's Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. Waya the bar, Yahweh, Al, Mashah, La Amar. Verse 2. The bar, Al, Bunya, Yasha'ala, Wa Amara, Ma Amaramas, Amaras, Al-Ham, Mawai, Yahweh, Ashar, the Karat, the Karawa, Athan, Makwara, Kwat, Fadash, Allah, Ham,
You got it.
Mawaya. Verse 3. Shashaya, Yum, the Isa, Malakia, Waba, Yawam, Hashabaya, Hashabaya, Shabakwa, Makwara, Padash, Kal, Malaka, La'a, the Isawa, Shabbat, Hawa, La Yahweh, Bakal, Mawashabah, Mawash Shabbat, Yakam. Verse 4. Allah, Mawat Ayada, Yahweh, Makwara, Wadash, Ashar, the Quara Wa, Adun, Bama, White. Verse 5. Bakata, Ha, Ra, Shawa, Ba'araba, Aha, Isara, La Quadash, Bunyan, Ha'arabian, Paquat, Pasak, La Yahweh. Verse 6. Waba, Kamasha, Isara, Yawam, Lakadas, Hazah, Khat, Hamatazawa, La Yahweh, Sabaya, Yum, Matazawa, the Akala. Verse 7. Bayawam, Hara, Harama, Harawa, Harama, Rava Ashua, Makwara, Quadash, Haya, Lakam Cow, Malaka, Abadiah, La'a, the Ishua,
All right. We're going to be now reading that. We're going to be now reading the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, 1 through 7 in the English. And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Most High, which ye shall declaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. Now, we went over this last time. The word feast translated here is mawa'ayim, which means an appointed time. So think about you being summoned to court. You got to be there. Okay, you get a letter in the mail. These are appointed times of the Most High. That's why he said these are my feasts. That's why when somebody summons you to somewhere, you go, or you're asked to come to a place. You bring some gifts and stuff. That's why we brought our sacrifices and stuff to the Most High. All right, verse 2. It says 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh is the Sabbath day of rest, a holy convocation. Okay, we know holy means separate assembly. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Most High in all your dwellings. Okay, and we know the Sabbath day is a weekly day that reminds us of creation. Okay, it reminds us also of the land. Okay, and reminds us when the creation was happening, and it points us back to that. Verse 4: These are my feasts. These are the feasts of the Most High, even holy convocations, which you shall proclaim in their seasons. Verse 5. And the 14th day of the first month at even is the Most High's Passover. The Passover is like our Independence Day. It's the Passover of the Most High. Okay, that's our Independence Day. Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread unto the Most High. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. Okay, so we're to eat unleavened bread for those 7 days. We're to not eat anything with leaven. Okay, for those 7 days. In the first day, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. Okay, the first day is a holy convocation. Let's do a quick review. Does anybody remember what happened on the first day of unleavened bread when it came to us when we were in Egypt? Why was the first day of unleavened bread important? What event happened that day? Does anybody remember? On the 50th day. Sister Takaya. That's the day we literally walked out of Egypt. Okay, the Most High struck the Egyptians at midnight at Passover. He passed over us and passed through Egypt, and then the following morning we left. And we walked out. That was on the 15th day. The Most High passed over us on the 14th, and then on the 15th day we walked out of Egypt. All right, that was verses 1 through 7. Let's have a quick question here. Okay, let's look at Leviticus. Shalom, what a Christ, sir. Look at Leviticus 23, verse 4. It says, the feasts of the Lord are to be proclaimed in their seasons. So a question I have is, when we go back to the land of Israel, what seasons and time of the year are we to be keeping the feasts of the Most High? Go ahead, sis. Okay. Anybody else want to give a shot? I'm not saying you're right or wrong. Anybody else want to give a shot at it? Go ahead. Harvest, okay. All right, anybody else want to give a shot? We got spring and we got harvest. All right. Okay, so let's give an answer to that. Harvest is actually a correct answer. The other answer should be summer. Okay. In Israel, there's only 2 seasons, summer and winter. Okay. So in the summertime, that was the time that we had the harvest. That was the time that we reaped the harvest. The winter is when we did the planting. Okay. So they looked at things in 2 seasons: summer, winter, harvest time, planting time. So the feast time, those 7 months, was a time when we reaped the harvest. The precept is Genesis 8:22. Okay, if you want a precept to that. Or Psalm 74:17. Those are precepts. Let's ask a couple more questions here. Psalms 74:17. Okay. this shows there's the 2 seasons, okay? And we want to know that because when we get back to our land, we want to know that there's somewhat, not every part of the world has the 4 seasons as we think of it, okay? Not every part of the world, okay? So those are the 2 seasons. Let's look at verse 5 really quickly. It says, verse 5 says, in the 14th day of the first month and even is the Most High's Passover. Can anybody tell me, look at question number 2. What are the 2 things that we were supposed to eat with the Passover? What are the 2 things that we were supposed to eat? Sis, go ahead.
Unleavened bread.
Unleavened bread is one. Okay, what we're supposed to eat with the lamb? We're supposed to eat 2 things with the lamb. Unleavened bread is one. Does anybody remember the other? Go ahead, Officer Bakar. Bitter. That is correct. Okay, we were supposed to eat unleavened bread and bitter herbs and for Passover. Okay, those are the 2 things. Precept, you can look at Exodus 12, verse 8. Okay, Exodus 12, verse 8. Okay, you could also look at Numbers 9 and 11. Okay, those are 2 things that we needed to eat for the Passover. Okay, all right, so we need to know that. All right, one last question before we move on. Okay, on the 15th day of the first month is the first day of unleavened bread. Okay, we are to eat unleavened bread 7 days. Can somebody tell me what's another name that we call unleavened bread anciently? So we had another name for it as well. Okay, we know it's unleavened bread. There's another name for it. What we called it. Actually, the Most High called it.
So,
Go ahead, sir.
so like Pesach, that just means Passover.
Pesach just means Passover. Come. Everybody know? All right, I'll give it to you. It's called the bread of affliction. Okay, it's called the precept is Deuteronomy 16, verse 3. Okay, it's called the bread of affliction. This is number 3. Okay, the bread of affliction. The unleavened bread was also called the bread of affliction because we left we left Egypt in haste. Precept is Deuteronomy 16, verse 3. It's called the bread of affliction. So we eat unleavened bread for 7 days, called the bread of affliction. All right? Deuteronomy 16, verse 3. All right? Let's keep it going. All right? We're now going to be reading Leviticus chapter 23. We're going to be reading verses 8 through 14. We'll read it in the Hebrew first and then the English. We'll give it a shot. Yeah. All right. Deuteronomy chapter, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 8 through 14.
Wahakarab, Thumb, Wahakarab, Asha, La Yahau, Shabai, Yum Yum, Bayawam, Hai Shabaya, Makab, Quadash, Cow Malakwa, Malaka, Abaya, La'a, the Ishwa. Verse 9. Waya the ball, Yahweh, Al Mashah, La Amal. Verse 10. The ball out, the ball out, Bunya Yasha'al, Wa Amara, Al Ham, Kaya, double wa out. Ha Arataza, Ashar, Onion, Nathan, Lakam, Wa Karatazai, Wa Tazarai the young.
Zara thumb.
Potato, Zara,
Zara thumb.
Zaria one.
Come, keep going, doing well.
Potato, Zaria, Waha, Badum, Atha, Amar, Rashid, Rasha, Quatazaria come. Hakam. 11. Waha yum. Waha no ya. Waha no ya. Ha'amar, La Punya, Yahweh, La Radazah come, Mahara, Ha Shabbat, Ya Napa Na Ya Naya, Nawa, Ha Kahan. Verse 12. Why I Yamda? Why I Shayatham? By Yum, by ya Wum. Hana Hanayakum. Adun. Ha'amar. Box. Dumaya. But Dumaya by Shinafwa. La Allah Yahweh. Verse 13. Why Manaka? Why Manakakwa? Shunya. Asheramya. Shala. Balawa. Bashamam. Asha. La Yahweh. Right. Raya. Naya Ka.
Got it.
Wanashka. Iyana. Rabiah. Hun. Verse 14. Walakam. Wakwalaya. Wakarama. La'a. The Akar. Why I to them. How you want? Hi Hazah. I ha Wayamka. Korabun. Alahayam come. Alahaya come. For Ba. Awali. I will lump. Let the bara you come. Bakal. Mashabak you come.
All right, we're going to go ahead and read the book of Leviticus, chapter 8. And we're going to go, chapter 23, and we're going to read verses 8 through 14 in the Hebrew. Go ahead and Officer Boston and read it. No, let him go ahead and salute him out. Okay. All right, let's read Leviticus chapter 23, verses 8 through 14 in the English. Let's see. Verse 8. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High 7 days. In the 7th day is a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. So the first day of unleavened bread as a holy convocation, and the last day does. Okay? And we are to offer offering made by fire for 7 days. We were to bring our gifts before the altar to pay tribute to the Most High. Okay, verse 9, the males were, verse 9. And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, verse 10, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when you be come into the land which I give unto you, and you shall reap the harvest thereof, then you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. Question real quick, this is number 4. Okay, what harvest were the children of Israel recognizing when they brought the first fruits of the wheat sheaf offering to the priest? This is a review. What harvest was that? Go ahead, Kapaya. This was the barley harvest. Okay, it was the barley harvest. Okay, and that's when we were bringing the wheat sheaf of the barley harvest. Okay, it was the barley harvest first, then it was the wheat harvest. Okay, because remember, the feast season was the time of the harvest. Okay, so in those 7 months, That was the 7 months of harvest. Okay, verse 11. And he shall wave the sheep before the Most High to be accepted for you on the morrow after the Sabbath. The priest shall wave it. And there's nothing spooky about the waving. That wasn't like no saying, you know how we hold our cup out and present it and say, La Yasha Allah? When they were bringing the sheep, they were presenting it. Wave is like you're presenting the wave sheet, and it had to be accepted. That means, because you remember, when the priest, and a lot of times the priest knew who you were, think about how we said, like Captain Saparis over Baltimore, that priest would know who you were and would present your wage offering in front of the chief priests. Okay, they were all there. And they were, this is Officer Gabar's wage sheet. And that had to be accepted. Okay? So that's how you got to think about it. Okay? And that had to be accepted by the high priest and all of them to be accepted. Verse 12, and you shall offer that day when ye wave the sheep a he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering to the Most High. Verse 13. And we're in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 13. Sorry. Verse 13. And the meat offering thereof, I'm slacking. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Most High for a sweet savor. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine and a fourth part of a hin. When you came to the feast, the Most High said this many times, as opposed to the males, you could not appear before him empty-handed. It's like, and you got to really think of it like this. How many, everybody here has been to a baby shower or anniversary? You know, it's you custom to bring a gift.
Right.
Okay? So you definitely going, when you come before the Most High, going to bring your best. That's how you have to think. When something the Christian church makes it, think, like, oh, that was, Israel was doing crazy things back then. And you know how they bring the Yahweh Shah into it, and they think that, oh, Israel was doing crazy. No, the Most High had a reason. You paid respect to the Most High. When you came before him, you brought a gift. You brought your best, the best of your flocks. Okay, and that was to be for the Most High. Verse 14. And ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto the Most High. This helps you to not be greedy. Okay, you had to bring your first fruits. It says, honor the Most High with your first fruits. Then you can eat of the blessings of the barley harvest. Before you ate of the barley harvest, you had to bring the first fruits of that harvest to the priests. Okay, and remember, the priests were the ones that benefit off of that because they were the ones that were always vouching for you. Okay, and it shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. So you had to bring that barley wage sheet in. The priests would present it, and then it would be accepted, and then you could enjoy the fruits of your labor. So I can go ahead, sis. You have a question? Yeah. Oh, which one? The barley, sure. You can look in Numbers. No, you can look in Ruth chapter 2. So Ruth chapter 2. Let me give you the exact one. It's in Ruth. Let me see. It's Ruth 2:23 is one. And then you can look at Exodus 9:31 through 32. Okay. And that will show you which harvest came first. Okay. Exodus 9:31 through 32. When the plagues were hitting the crops of the Egyptians, and sometimes the barley was being destroyed, but the wheat wasn't, because the wheat wasn't fully grown. That's in Exodus 9:31-32. You can also look in Ruth 2:23. How she stayed with Naomi during the barley harvest and the wheat harvest. All right. And that's it for that. All right, let's keep it moving. We're going to read the book of Leviticus chapter 23. We're reading verses 15 to 21 in the Hebrew, and then we'll read in English. I'll take the Hebrew.
Leviticus 23:15. What's your parayat? Become. What karat? Ashabat. Ayawa. Ayawam. Right. Habaya Akam. Amar. Hanapawapa. Hanapawapa. Shabbat.
Right. Shabbat. Shabbat. Shamaya. 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 Ma. Baha. Baha. Yahala. Baha. Ya. Baha. Ya. Baha. Ya. Who else? Aye. Mamakara. Shabbat. 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 Ah. That's a power. Kamashna. Yawam. Wahakwa. Wabaki. Wanaka. 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 Kadash. Kadash. By Yahweh. 17. Mama. Washabate Kim. Mama. Washabate Kim. Mama Yahweh. Come. Mama Put. Shakman. Shanaya. Asharanian. Allah. Bahayat. Bahayana. Bahayana.
Yana.
Bahayana. Bahayana. Kamataza. Bahabaranya. Like a warrior. Bayahawa. 18. Baha. Bahabakian. How. Rakam. Shabbat. Shabayat. Sabash. Kabayat. Kabayat.
Somebody, come on.
Kabayamam.
Come.
Vanya. Shana. Bakar. Run. Bakar. Akad. Wahala. 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 Yalia. Shanyam. Yanya. Yanya. Yaha. Yawa. Kalayala. Yahawa. Wamana. Kan. Wama. Wama Katam.
Come.
Wama Shah. Wama Shah. Kayam.
Inside.
Come. Ashaya. Ashaya.
Asha, come,
Asha,
come.
Raya. Now your cock. Should have worked.
Now you cock.
Come your cock. Yeah, so yeah, how?
Come, 19, sir.
Aisha Yakin. Sha'ayar. Azario. Kai. The cut the ah. The Shanya. The Bashla. Banya Shanya. Banya Shanya.
Baya Shana, come.
Banya Shana.
Come.
The Bak. Salamia. The Swing.
21, sir. We know the 21.
Wahanaya. Akahan. Akam. How. Akam. Habaka warrior. Habaka warrior. And a what? And a wapa. The Panyan. The Payat. The Hawa. How. Shemya. Kabashna. Kadash. Hayaya. Hayahaya. Hayahayawa. Laya. Hayahawa. Lakam. Lakahan. 21. Wakorapian. Atazam. Hayawam. Hazaa. Wakoraya. Kodash. Hayahana. Hayahat. Wahaya.
Yeah.
Yahaya.
Come.
Become. Call. Walawak. Walala. Wala.
Come, sir.
Wala akak.
Come.
Abada.
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 Come, sir.
Da'a. Tashawa.
To Aisha.
The Aisha.
Come, sir.
To Kwa.
Come.
Kawalam. To call. Wawashabat. To come. Let the rap you come.
Excellent work, sir. Right, we're now going to read this in English, Leviticus chapter 23, 15 through 21. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought the sheep of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths ye shall be complete. So this is the feast that we actually have to literally count. Okay, this is the feast day that doesn't necessarily always have like a set that you actually have to count. Okay, verse 16, even to the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall you number 50 days, and you shall offer a new meat offering unto the Most High. Verse 17, you shall bring out of your habitation 2 wave loaves of the 10th deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Most High. Okay, so this is the first fruits of the what harvest? Somebody let me know. Now after we count the 50 days of the barley harvest, This is the first fruits of what harvest? Anybody know? Go ahead, also Bakar. This is the wheat harvest. Okay, after we count those 50 days, the wheat harvest, so the grain, that would be mature, and we'd have to bring the first fruits in there. Verse 18. And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and the young bullock and 2 rams. Then they shall be for a burnt offering to the Most High, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, and even the offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Most High. Verse 19. Then ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings. Verse 20. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Most High. With the 2 lambs, they shall be holy to the Most High for the priest. Verse 21. And ye shall proclaim on that self same day that it may be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It should be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout generations. Quick question. This is number 5. Okay. What month or months do the Feast of Weeks, and this is talking about the Feast of Weeks, okay, with the wheat harvest. What month or months does the Feast of Weeks usually fall on? And when I say months, I'm talking about our calendar months, January, February. What month or months? When we count those 50 days, what month or months does the Feast of Weeks usually fall on? Go ahead, Officer Bakar.
April, May, and June.
Okay, you got to drop one of them.
Yeah.
Should drop April. So it should be
April.
God. So it's May and June. Okay, usually the months of May and June. Okay, and because usually when you're counting 50 days after around that Passover season, because we usually have the Passover in April. Okay, so if you count 50 days, you're going to hit usually the end of May, beginning of June, around that time. Okay, when you count 50 days. All right, and that's it. So here, sitting in the middle. So we get it. Just the people up here. Officer Owls, I present thyself in thy registry. No, because you just saw shouting. Yeah, I'll just take it. I'm gonna both y'all keep it. All right, we're on now in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23. We're reading verses 22 through 28 in the Hebrew. That'd be right. 22 through 28 in the Hebrew, sir.
Leviticus 23, verse 22 in the Hebrew. Wabakwa Chazarian. Wabakwa Chazarian come. Chazaria. Karachazakum. La'a. Bakala. Ba'a. Shadaka. Bakwat Chazari. Bakwat Chazar. Time, sir. Bakwat. Zakaria. Zakaria. Yaka.
Come, sir. You got
Quattro Yaka.
come, sir.
La Quat.
Come.
La Anaya. La Gar.
Come.
La Azar. The Thumb. The Naya. The Howard. Allah. I said it. Allah. Ahala. 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 To come.
Allah, you come. Come, sir.
Ahala, you come.
Come, sir.
Or you're the bar. Yahweh. How. Masha. La Amar. The bar. Allah. The bar. Wanaya. Yasha. Ra'ala. La Amar. Barkadash.
Yeah, sir.
Barkadar. Ashaba'aya.
Come.
Akad. Nakadash. Nahaya. Nakam. Shabbat. Sakawar. Thawar Aya. Sorry. Thawar Aya. Say that.
So, I have. Come, sir.
Makawaya. Kodash. 25. Call. Wala Akak. Abad.
Abadah, sir.
Abadah.
Come, sir.
La'a. Aisha. Wahakwa. Rabaka. Say that.
Wahab for Rockton.
Wahak.
For Rockton, sir.
Wahak for Rapton.
Come, sir.
Aisha. La Yahweh. Verse 26. Where you're the bar. Yahweh. Al. Maisha. La Amar. 27. Ak. Russia War. Nakadash. Ashabayaya. Hazat.
Huzzah. You have, sir.
Hazat.
Come, sir.
Dewam. Kaparia. Awa'ah. Makora. Wadash. Ahaya. Akam. Wa'ah. Wa'ayana yakum. You say that right?
Wa'anyatham, sir.
Wa'ayatum.
Come, sir.
The pot. Nasha Patakat, the Pasha Tayak, the Pash, the Pashafia come, the Pashafia come council. What her for Rabathia? Yeah. What her for Rabathia? Say again. What her for Rabathia? Pull up a stump. What her for a stump? What her for my thumb concept. Shut up. Now your Howard. Verse 28 time. And call. Malaka. 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 That's your what? But I choose them. How you want? How's a hot? Yeah. Yo, one. Say that right. Concert. Kaparia. How up? A kapar. How are you feeling? Panya. Yahweh. Allah. Allah, you come.
All right. We're going to be now reading the book of Leviticus. We're reading verses 22 through 29. 28. Good reading, sir. In the English.
So Leviticus chapter 23, verse 22. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest. Neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am the Lord your God.
Okay, so this is pretty much easy. You were supposed to share with the Levite, the poor, and the widow, and the stranger within your gates. You were supposed to do that. You weren't supposed to just take all of the crops that the Most High, you would leave the corners of the field. Okay, so you wouldn't be greedy. Keep going, sir.
Verse 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 24, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of the trumpets, like a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation.
Okay, we're supposed to have a holy convocation. That was the feast last Sunday through Monday. Okay, that was the memorial blowing the trumpets, which just passed. That was the first day of the 7th month of our harvest time. And in this harvest time, we were bringing in like our grapes, our figs, olives. This was it was also called this was the month that we were bringing all the other crops in. We had our first fruits, the barley and the wheat, and this was the other crops that we would bring in. Go ahead.
Verse 25, ye shall do no servile work with therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Okay, quick question. Number 6 in your work. Okay, what are some reasons trumpets were used in Israel? What were some reasons? Why was it's called the memorial blowing the trumpets? Why did we blow trumpets in Israel? What was the point? Or it's also called the memorial blowing the trumpets. It's also called the day of shouting. Why did we blow trumpets or shout in Israel? What was the point? Go ahead, Officer Bakar.
To warn Israel.
So warn Israel. Okay, General Katham made a good point. You got that alarm clock that's at your house. Well, we used to have people on the lookout that will guard the camp. Anybody else? Couple of young. To move the camp of Israel. Okay, the camp. I mean, you got to think there was, so many people. You had to have. They would listen to certain trumpets. Certain trumpets would signal the movement of the camp. Anybody else? Okay, young. To recognize feast days. Okay, not everybody had a calendar anciently. The priests had to blow the trumpets to let people know, or to go throughout the land. The Levites to let people know we got a feast coming up. Okay, they like, something everybody had a calendar in the house. Okay, so the was the Levites and the priest's job to let people know. Okay, any more? Get one more. Anybody else? Go up to the card.
Yes, sir. I see F say to win battles against enemies.
To come.
That's the same as to call them to battle.
Well, to win. Remember, Joshua's battle. Remember when they were told to shout and the walls fell. And if you look at Gideon's battle, that's in Judges 7. Read Judges. That's a precept. Judges 7:15-22. They were to shout and blow the trumpets, and it caused confusion of the enemies. Okay, so it was also to win battles. Okay, also to warn Israel of their sins. We do a camp every week. Captain Oss brought that up last week. Okay, also was to gather Israel together. So there was a lot of reasons why we were memorialized. So on these feast days, we will remember important events that we had to blow the trumpets. Excellent. Keep going, Swag.
Verse 26. And the Lord spake to Moses, saying, on verse 27. Also on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your soul and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Okay, quick question. Okay, because this is the Day of Atonement. Okay, so I got a question. And we're going to do a couple questions here because we want to learn more about this particular feast. We're going to go through all the feasts, but we want to hone in on this feast because today is the Day of Atonement. Okay, now, really, it's really translated. If you look in Hebrew, it's called the Day of Atonements. It's really a plural word in Hebrew. Can somebody tell me why this would? So really, we should be saying Day of Atonements, plural. Why would this be called the Day of Atonements? Could anybody make a shot at that? Anybody know? Takaya, go ahead. This actually feast lasts for a day. But they're atonements. But why is it a Day of Atonements? There is a reason. That's the better translation. So, that's why. Why is it atonements? So go ahead, Officer Alizar.
No, but because no one has one atonement. Everybody has multiple transgressions.
Okay, I mean that's a good way to look at it. Not quite the reason, but you're on to something. Anybody else? But you're on to something. Okay, I'll give it to you because on this day, the priests, the chief priest, would have to go in and make atonement for himself. He had to make atonement for his family, and he had to make atonement for the whole house of Israel, as well as the tabernacle, the altar. Precepts. Look in Leviticus 16, chapter 16. Read that whole chapter, really. But Leviticus 16, verses 17 and 33 will kind of give you the clue. But read that whole chapter. It gives you a very detail of the Day of Atonements. So there was multiple things going on the Day of Atonements. The priest Aaron, and then after him, whoever's after Aaron, would go in, and they had to go in and make atonement for himself and his household. So, Alzar, you were on to something. After he made atonement for himself and his household, then he had to make atonement for all the children of Israel. And he had to cleanse the altar and the tabernacle. All of that was going on. All right, let's ask another question. Okay. The Day of Atonement, it says, actually, can you reread this, Officer Alizar? Read verse 27 again.
Okay. This is verse 27. Also, on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your soul and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Okay, let's talk about afflicting the souls. Okay, Number 8, the word afflict in Hebrew is the word ainah, okay, which means to humble yourself. So when it's saying afflict your soul, it's really saying you need to humble yourself. Besides fasting, I'm gonna tell y'all, because you can actually fast for the wrong reasons. So besides fasting, what are some other things we can do to afflict our souls or humble ourselves on the Day of Atonement? Because we need to know this, okay? Because we'll look at actually a couple scriptures, precepts that you can be fasting for the wrong reasons, and the Most High will not honor that. What is another way to really humble yourself? Because the word afflict means you need to humble yourself. Can anybody tell me ways that you're humbling yourself besides fasting? Because this goes along with the Day of Atonement. The children of Israel were doing this on this day. They were fasting, and they were doing other things as well. I want to give a shot at it. How would you humble yourself? Go ahead, Salazar.
Good. Maybe giving away some things that you have, like if you have an abundance of clothes or something like maybe I don't know, just goods.
Okay, you're thinking, I like that. You're thinking of Isaiah 58, where the Most High says this is the type of fast he honors. So I'm gonna hold you. I hold that one. That's in Isaiah 58. Anybody else? How do you humble yourself before the Creator? I gave the clue. All right, let me give you some. Prayer and confessing your sins or the sins of your nation. Okay? That is a way to humble yourself. The heathen people in the world fast, folks. You know, they always take something from the Bible and act like it's theirs. But people in the world, have you noticed now that the doctors say if you fast for 24 hours, it's helping? They take stuff from the Bible. Okay, the heathen also fast. But our fast should be a fast of humbling ourselves. And part of that is prayer and confessing your sins or the sins of the nation. Okay, we're going to look at a couple precepts on that. Okay, because and also to cry out to the Creator. This is what they were doing on the Day of Atonement. This is why the Most High said that you should be at rest on this day. If you read, the Most High said you should be at rest like 5 or 6 times. Like, get the point. You should be afflicting your soul and you should be at rest. He said it like 5 or 6 times. Okay, precepts to this, and I won't maybe get to turn to all of them. There's a Daniel. Look at Daniel's attitude in Daniel 9, 4-6. Okay? When Daniel was humbling himself, and the scripture says Daniel was pretty much without fault before the Most High. But if you look at Daniel's attitude, Daniel did not say, the Most High, I know I'm not a sinner and I've kept all the commandments and I'm good. When Daniel humbled himself because he knew he was coming for the Most High, he confessed the sins of Israel. And he said, we have sinned. Look at Daniel 9, 4-6. He did not come with a high attitude saying, look at all the commandments I've kept, Most High. He was very humble and he said, we have sinned. And he confessed the sins of his fathers and the sin of the nation at that time. This is the attitude we need to have. And at that time, when people in Israel was all praying together. So part of humbling yourself is praying and confessing. Another precept, Leviticus 26, 40-42. I'm actually going to pull this because I wanted to make sure we get the point here. Leviticus 26, verse 40. This is what the Most High is saying of how to humble yourself. Okay, this is talking about when we're in our captivity. Okay, verse 40 of Leviticus 26, verse 40, it says, if they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespasses, which they have trespassed against me, and that they've also walked contrary unto me. Verse 41, and then I also have walked contrary unto them, and I brought them into the land of their enemies. And then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they accept their punishment of their iniquity. Verse 42, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham. Will I remember, and I will remember the land. This is how we get the Most High's attention. Okay? Humbling yourself. That is part of afflicting your souls. Confessing and praying. Like crying out. One of the best examples, I remember Commander Janiana 2 years ago at the Feast of Passover said that he admitted, he said he cried out to the Most High. I remember that because we was at the black party when he said it. I think it was 2, maybe 3. Okay? He said he cried out to the Most High. And that's what should be our attitude. Okay? Not just, fasting is with it, but not just fasting. Let me give you one more precept to drive it home. Let's look at Luke 18, 10 through 14. I just want us to get the idea. This is what Yahweh Shah said is a humble attitude when it comes to when you're coming before the Most High. Let's look at Luke 18, 10 through 14. All right, this is Yahweh Shah. And he's giving an example. Actually, could you mind reading it, Officer Alizar? Luke 18, 10 through 14. Okay? Or whoever has it. Okay, I want us to get this point here because this is the Day of Atonement. And the Most High really keeps saying 5 or 6 times, you must afflict your soul. You must afflict your soul. Pretty much you need to be humble on this. Luke 18, we're going to read verses 10 through 14. Go ahead, whoever has it.
It's Luke chapter 18, verse 10.
Listen carefully on this. Go ahead.
2 men went up into the temple to pray, and one a Pharisee and the other a publican.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. The Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, and unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican.
This person's coming for the Most High, bragging of all the good stuff they've done. I'm thankful that I'm not this and that. We're going to see it's not acceptable to the Most High. Go ahead.
And verse 12. I fast twice in the week. I give tithe of all that I possess.
Look how he's bragging. Look at all that I'm doing. Keep going.
And the publican standing afar off.
This is contrast to the other person. When he's coming before the Creator, go ahead.
Would not lift up so much as his eye unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God be merciful to me, a sinner.
Wouldn't even lift up his eyes. He's humbling himself because he's coming before the Creator. Keep going.
I tell you this. So I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. But for everyone that exalteth himself shall be abased.
Exalting yourself. Look at all that I've done, God. I'm just, look what I've done. You coming for the most. Look at all the examples in the Bible. Look at all the examples. When they came before the Most High, they humbled themselves. Okay, keep going.
And he that humbleth himself shall be exalted.
To be exalted. So the point I'm trying to make here is humbling oneself on the Day of Atonement deals with fasting and confessing, talking about this and putting yourself and looking at the big picture. Okay. Also, maybe this is a time where you have an ought against a brother or sister. Remember, you're supposed to leave the gift on the altar and repair that relationship. That's humbling itself. Not like, well, I'm just going to do me and go to the feast and all that. Got to think about that. This is a time we really need to think on the Day of Atonement. Maybe there's an ought against a brother or sister, maybe in the school. And maybe you need to fix that. Maybe you have it with the counselor and take the. Maybe you can go fix that before you go to the Most High and brag about how many things you've done. Just think of that's something you just need to think about. And also, one more thing I want to put out. Remember when Yahweh gave a model prayer? Remember in his model prayer, he said, forgive us our debt. This is the Yahweh saying that. Forgive us of our debts. He didn't say, well, I'm the perfect son. I'm the unique son. So, forgive them of their debts. He always thought of the nation. He said, forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. Think about that tomorrow as we're doing this fast. That's something we need to keep in mind of humbling ourselves. All right. Go ahead. I think we have verse 28 to read.
Okay. It's Leviticus chapter 23, verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
Right, and that's it. Excellent. All right. Let's go ahead. We're going to be reading. We're going to be reading Leviticus chapter 29 through 35. Okay. And we're going to read that in the Hebrew, and then we'll read it in the English.
Kayaka, Hanapash, Ashala'a, Da'anun, Atazan,
Exorcism.
Ba'itazan, Hayawam, Hazar, Wanakarapa, Wanakar, Ratha, Ma'ain, Yaha, Ma'ayaham, Maha.
Yeah.
Verse 30. Wakal, Hanapash, Ashar, the Ashaka, looks like. The Aisha, Aha, Yashaha, Ka, Malaka, but Itazam, Hayawam, Hazah, Waha, Ahabadab, Ahabadabya, Ada, Hanapash, Hahawa, Wawakwa, Amha, verse 31, Ka, Malaka, La'a, the Aishawa, Kakwa, Awala, Ladara Yakam, Bakal, Mashaba Yakam, Mashabab Yakam, verse 32, Shabbat the one, Hawa, Lakam. It's like Hawalam Lakam. Hawa Lakam. Wa Anayamdam. Wanai Ayam Yatam. Anayatam. Ata. Napasha. Yakam. But the shy aha. Aha. La Kadash. Ba'ara. Ma'ara. Ira. The Shabaka. Verse 33. Waya the ball. Yahweh. Masham. La Amar. The ball. Albaya. Yasha'al. La Amar. Ba Kamasha. Kamasha. Aishara. Yawam. La Kadash. Hashabaya. Shabai. Haza. Ka. Hashikawa. Hasakawa. Shabai. Yum. La Yahau. Verse 35. But you want Hawasham. Ra'ashwan. Makwara. Wadash. Call. Mother Akaf. Abada. La'a. The Aishawa.
Excellent. We're going to be reading Leviticus chapter 23, 29 through 35 in the English. Leviticus chapter 23, 29 through 35, sir, whenever you're ready. Come, sir.
Leviticus 23 and 29. Whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people.
As you see, the Most High is very serious. Your soul must be afflicted that day. If not, you was cut off. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the soul will be destroyed, will I destroy from among his people. Verse 31. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at evening, to even until evening shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
Okay, quick question. This is number 9. Okay. Can somebody tell me, during the Day of Atonements, when the children of Israel were afflicting their souls, what was the high priest allowed to do that he could only do once a year on that day? Go ahead. Okay, yeah? Enter to the most holy place. That is correct. That was the only time he was allowed to come into the most holy place. Think about a king. I can't even go into the Oval Office. If I bust in the Oval Office, I'll be taken out immediately, unalived immediately. Okay, so it's the same thing. You just couldn't walk up into the throne. That was the only time you could. Precept Leviticus 16. Another quick question. Okay, it's a true or false question. There were animals used on the Day of Atonement to make atonement for the children of Israel to put sin out of the camp. 2 lambs were used on that day. Is that a true statement or a false statement? They used 2 lambs. True or false statement? Somebody knows it. I know I'm from the car knows it. Is that a true or false statement? They used 2 lambs to 2 lambs were used. What do you want to take a shot at? Everybody let go. All right, I'll give it to you. All right, that's a false statement. 2 goats were used. Okay, 1 goat was made for atonement. The other goat was called the scapegoat or the azazel goat. That's what some people. I'm saying it wrong. I can't remember how to say it in Hebrew. But that goat was the one that the sins were all confessed on, and they let out in the wilderness. Leviticus 16, 8 through 22 is a precept. There's Leviticus 16, 8 through 22. There's 1 live goat that they sent out to the wilderness. The other goat was made for an atonement. Okay, and you got to think about it too. That's the Most High was showing us how sin is, how he really gets rid of sin. Sent it all the way out from the camp, and you have to make an atonement for it. So it was a big process going on the Day of Atonement. Okay, all right. One last question here, and then we'll go. We'll speed it up. Okay, on the Day of Atonements. Okay, because this is important. The high priest would bring a handful of incense on fire before the Ark of the Covenant. And the incense cloud would cover the mercy seat, lest the high priest die. What did this incense represent? You would bring a lot of incense in there. The incense would be a cloud since covered the mercy seat. You'll find in Leviticus 16. What did that incense represent? While he's going forth into the chapel in the most holy place. What did that go ahead, Salazar?
We'll take a stab. Is it the sin? Does it represent the sin going up?
What do you think? Say it again. The prayers are going up. That means Israel at that time were all praying as one. They were all praying. Even in our ancient time, there were times when we would go pray. Okay, we would go and come up to the temple. There's precepts there. You can look at Revelation 5 verse 8. Revelation 5, you be about 4. Revelation 5 verse 8. Okay. It talks about the incense, which are the prayers of the saints. You can look at Luke 1 verse 10, when Zacharias was going to pray the incense. Everybody outside was waiting for him, was praying. They were praying as a group. Okay. You can look at Luke 1:10, Revelation 5:8. You can look at Psalms 141 too. The psalmist said, "Let my prayers go up before you like incense." Okay, and Revelation 8:3. Okay, those are all precepts. What is that saying about us on the Day of Atonement? We all need to be praying tonight and tomorrow as a group. Okay, we all have to do it as a nation to pray tomorrow as well as fasting. Don't say, "Well, I'm gonna eat something." Then no, fasting. You're not to eat anything, as well as praying and confessing and humbling ourselves, because that big cloud covered that mercy seat. So all the nation was praying at that time. So it's just got a question. No eating or drinking 24 hours. If you're able. I mean, you're pregnant, you got, taking medications, you got young children, but if you're able body, 24 hours. So the sun sets tomorrow. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I have a question because this is what we threw me off. Like, why is it afflicting the soul? Like, why is not flesh? Like, if the flesh was afflicting the flesh, like those things that the flesh, right? Not the soul so much.
Well, I mean, the soul kind of still represents the body, because it says Adam became a living soul, like a living body. If you look at it in Genesis, that was really pretty talking. He became a living body. So you're still afflicting your body, not eating. That's still like afflicting your soul, flesh. But also, like I said, people fast for the wrong reasons. So part of afflicting your soul is confessing and praying and fasting.
Right.
All right. So let's just make sure. The last thing I'm going to say is before we go on is, remember, there are types of fasts that are not acceptable. And you can look at this in Isaiah 58. There are some fasts that the Most High does not accept. Okay? If you're fasting for strife or wickedness, the Most High does not accept that. Remember the fasting of the Pharisees. Remember how they fasted. They fasted for attention. Okay? People are not supposed to know that you are fasting. Okay? And you can look at that, Matthew 6:16-18, how the Pharisees would fast and disfigure their faces to look more righteous. Okay, you can also look at that in Luke 18:9-14. Okay, we're to not look like we're just disfigured to get credit. That's what the Pharisees and them would do. Okay, we're not to gain favor to get self-praise when we're fasting. Remember, that's exalting yourself. That's what the Pharisees would do. Okay. Our fasting should be to humble ourselves. And you can read the chapter of Isaiah 58. That's the type of fast the Most High likes. If you're trying to get out of what Officer Alizar was saying earlier. All right? We're on 33. Go ahead. 35. Go ahead, sir.
Leviticus 23:33. And the Lord spake to Moses, saying, 34. Speaking to the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast of the tabernacles, for 7 days unto the Lord. Verse 35. For the first day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
Excellent. Let's work. All right, we're going to go ahead and finish this out. We're going to read the rest. We're going to read verses 36. And we're going to go all the way to 44. We're going to read it in the Hebrew. We're going to read Leviticus chapter 23:36. And we'll go all the way to 44 in the Hebrew. And then we'll read it in the English. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 36. Shabbat Yum Yum Fakor Yahweh Asha La Yahweh La Yawam Asha Ashama Yunya Makora Kodash Yahaya Lakam Wahakorabtum Asha La Yahweh Atazaraf Hawa Call Malakah Ibada La Ta'aishawa. Verse 37. Allah Mawa'ija Yahweh Ashar Fakora Awa Atham Makora Ya Kodash Laha Koraya Asha La Yahweh Allah Manakah Zabak Wanasakyam Dabar Yawam Yawamwa. Verse 38. Malabah Shabbatha Faf Yahweh Malabah Mathanwaf Yakam Mathanwaf Yakam Malabah call Nadar Yakam Malabah call Nadab Waf Yakam Ashar the Thunwa La Yahweh. Verse 39. Kamasha Ashar Yawam Lakadash Hashabiyaya Ba'asakum, Sabawa, Ha'arataza, Ba'chagwa, Chag Yahawa, Shaba'if, Yum Yum, Bayawam, Ra'aswan, Shabathwan, Waba Yawam, Shabayunya, Shabathwan, verse 40. Walla Hatham, Lakam, Bayawam, Ra'aswan, Tarya, Aitaza, Hadar, Kabah, the Mariam, Wa'ina, Aitaza, Ibah, Wa'irabia, Nakhal, was Shamaka, Katham, Lapanya Yahawa, Allah Yakam, Allahayakam, Shabbat Yum Yum, verse 41. When the Hagatham, Athla, Ha, Yahawa, Shabbat Yum Yum, Washana, Kakwak, Agalam, the Raflikam, Wakadat, Hashabayaya, Sakagwa, Athwa, verse 42. Wasakat, Shakwa, Shabbat Yum Yum, Kaha Zarak, by Yasha'ala, Yasha'wa, Sakat, verse 43. La Ma'ain, Yada'aiwa, Yarafnikam, Kaya, was Sakawat, was Shabathya, Bunya, Yasha'ala, Wata Ya, Awaf, Awatham, Ma'arataza, Matazarium, Anya, Yahawa, Alayakam, Alahayakam, verse 44. While you debar, Masha'ah, Ma'aya, Yahawa, Al, Bunya, Yasha'ala. That's it. All right, we're going to be reading the book of Leviticus chapter 23. I was at 36 and go ahead and finish it off.
7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made of fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work.
This is probably the Feast of Tabernacles, which is coming up on Sunday. We'll get more into that on Sunday. Go ahead.
Verse 37. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice, a drink offering, everything upon this day. Verse 38. Beside the Sabbath of the Lord, and beside your gift, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings which ye give unto the Lord. Verse 39. Also on the 5th day of the 7th month, when ye shall gather in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Verse 40. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. Verse 41. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month.
So that was the Feast of Tabernacles was celebrated at the end of the harvest. That's why you'll see in Scripture say at the year's end. We know the year does not end in the 7th month, but that was the year end of the harvest season. Go ahead.
Verse 42. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. Verse 43. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord, your God. Verse 44. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord.
Excellent. All right. Your package, you can go. Y'all have any questions afterwards? So I gave some people some challenges, some matching in there, so y'all can match up the feast day with the, if you have any questions, I definitely can help people out. All right. With just the people up here, Okay. Also, Matata Bot's better than me now. This is permissible for the service. We are carrying out the service just like this. We ask that every year just to make sure.
La Yashab.
Slime. All right. Men of Israel, gird up thy loins and prepare to salute the Torah. How
about Shimmy Up Shabbat? Yeah.
Yeah. He goes to that. She goes from the camera. So we can appreciate it. How about Shimmy Up Shabbat? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like certain. What else was it? I said so. So you call people. Oh, let me make sure that we don't slack. 1 second. Okay. So I'm not going to go again.
Mario. Raphael, we're done. Please rise and face the east. We want to start with the Lord's Prayer. First in the Hebrew and then the English. Our now. Shabbat Shemai.
When God,
Yeah.
Shamka, Yahweh,
Balak Come a walk now. That's a lot now. Come a walk now. Well, now. Well, side one. Ball. Shine out. Yeah. The cup. Come a lock one.
I'm not in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
You see how God the power? Yeah, how?
Yeah, how?
Shimmy out of shot.
Shimmy out of shot.
Bubble shot.
Bubble shot.
Thunder now.
The thunder now.
Okay.
Attack.
Okay.
Attack.
Bubble.
Lava.
Call my God.
Walk on the ground.
We call my what?
We'll call one what?
Okay.
Attack.
That's a heart.
That's a heart.
How much has the right?
That's a right.
Okay.
Attack.
A hockey.
La Hakwim.
A mockey.
A Makia.
Okay.
Attack.
We call what?
I will call what?
That's my Allah.
That's my Allah.
The government Shem.
Like a Rashem.
Bahashim.
Rashem.
Government Shem.
Yahusha.
Water.
Water.
Amen.
Aman. And in the English. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahusha.
The name of Yahweh.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
The power to heal.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the leper.
The power to lift
The power to raise the dead.
the power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against the unclean spirit.
To cast them out.
Cast them out.
In the name of Yahusha.
In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Let Israel. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bahashim Yahweh.
Shimmy Yahusha.
Rock and now.
Now.
Wayashin Allah.
Well, Yahusha.
Well, how about Rock?
Well, what about Yah?
How about Yahweh? Safari.
Support.
Rock.
Right.
Bahashim Yahweh.
Shimmy Yahusha.
Amen.
But why not mine? And in the English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahusha.
In the name of Yahweh.
Bless us
Bless us.
and Israel
And Israel.
and the school.
And the school.
In the name of Yahusha.
In the name of Yahweh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Saul, which means return. So like 1 second. Watch. This concludes the service. Sister Deshavian.
And in Israel, we're going to give one courtesy leave to the teacher. And in Israel, the mighty Shabbat, the mighty Barak, the Yahweh Shimmy out of Shabbat like a thumb.
Yahweh Ba Shimmy Yahweh Shah like a thumb.
As a retired, so, Sister Stan, we're going to give one courtesy leave to the sisters. And in Israel, the mighty Shabbat, the mighty Barak,
Yahweh Ba Shimmy Yahweh Shah.
as a retired, class dismissed. Wow.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isubk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West. They're